Oh, how sweet it is, isn't it? The delusion, the fantasy they've built in their little minds. Thinking you'd stay, they hurt you, humiliated you, drained every ounce of your spirit. And yet somehow they believed you just stick around. Why? Because they got it twisted. They thought you weak. They thought you'd crumble, bend, endure whatever garbage they threw your way. They mistook your silence for submission, your patience for weakness. But they underestimated you, and that's their biggest mistake. Escape you. See, people love to think they can break you, control you, manipulate you into staying in their miserable circus. They'll push your buttons, tear you down, convince you it's all for your own good. They'll wear that mask of concern, that veneer of love, while behind it they're only playing their little game. They'll abuse the little cheat, and then, although sit back, lean on their delusions and think he'll just take it. But here's the punchline. You're not staying. Not for them. Not for anyone. You've got a secret they don't know. Your strength isn't in how long you endure the abuse. It's in your ability to walk away. It's in your refusal to let them define you, to let them steal the last shred of your dignity. They thought you were trapped, but you were only waiting for the moment when you finally saw them for who they really are. And the second that light went on, oh, that was their worst nightmare. So let's talk about delusions. Let's talk about how they're living in their own inquisitive world, thinking they can get away with it. Because when they look at you, when they see you, walking away, truly walking away, they'll finally realize the truth. The joke's on them. You jump down. You know what they love to say, don't you? They love to tell you that it's not your fault, that you didn't ask for it, that no one deserves to be treated like that. But here's the thing. They don't know what you don't understand. The abuse is never just about what they do to you. It's about the moment you decide to let it continue, the moment you choose to stay. The world loves to paint the picture that the victim is powerless, helpless, trapped by the hands of those who abuse them. But what if I told you that the real power lies in the choice to leave? What if I told you the most powerful thing you can do is walk away? Doubt. See, abuse doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It's a dance, a twisted tango, where both partners play a part. Although they're the ones doing the harm, doing the breaking. But you're on who allows it. You're the one who stays in the storm, waiting for the clouds to clear, hoping it'll get better. But here's the hard truth. They're never going to stop. They're never going to change. Not until you stop feeding into their game. It's easy to think abuse is something that just happens, that you're some innocent bystander caught in a web spun by someone else. But that's the lie. You're not trapped. You're choosing to stay trapped. You may not realize it, or maybe you do. But every day you stay, you're telling yourself that their cruelty is something you can do, that their disrespect is something you can fix, that you're somehow worth less than their gains, their manipulation, their disregard. But the moment you realize that abuse is a choice, that's when the chains start to break. When you stop looking at yourself as the victim and start seeing yourself as the one in control. That's when the power shifts. And let me tell you, it's a terrifying moment. It's the moment when you realize you've been feeding into their delusion, and they're not nearly as powerful as they thought they were. It's the moment when you see how easy it is to just walk away, to step outside of their prison, and look back at it with a laugh, because they never had the power you gave them in the first place. They'll scream, they'll beg, they'll make promises, say things like they'll remind you of the good times, the good side of them, the side that isn't an abusive monster. They'll tell you all the reasons you should stay, all the reasons you should believe that things will be different next time. But what they don't understand is that the moment you choose yourself, the moment you choose to leave, their tricks stop working. The words are nothing but empty promises, and I know leaving is hard. Hell, it's not just hard. It's terrifying, the idea of walking away from everything you've known, from the manipulation, the chaos, the comfort of being broken in a familiar way. It's so much easier to stay in that cycle, isn't it? The devil, you know enough, you don't have to endure the pain just because it's familiar. It takes strength to walk away, not the kind of strength that comes from staying and suffering. No, that's just endurance. The kind of strength that comes from leaving is the kind that scares the hell out of people. It's the strength to choose yourself over their delusions, to step into the unknown even when the world feels like it's falling apart. It's the strength to walk out of the prison they've built for you, to look them in the eye and say, "No more the exceed." And when you do that, oh, the look on their face, it's priceless. They never saw it coming. They thought he'd stay. They thought they had you. But the joke's on them was because abuse as a choice, and so is leaving it behind. You're not trapped by your circumstances. You're not stuck in some twisted game. So the next time they try to keep you in that cycle, the next time they say you can't leave me, remember this: you can. And the moment you two choose to, you've already won this. The arrogance, the audacity, the way they look at you and think they've got you figured out. They see your loyalty, your patience, your willingness to take on their burdens, and they think they own you. They think because they can push your buttons, manipulate your emotions, or control the narrative for long enough, they've got you trapped. They've miscalculated. They've underestimated you. They think you're just a puppet in their little show, strings pulled dancing to their tune. But the moment they believe they own you, that's the exact moment you show them just how wrong they are. They'll push all the buttons. See how far they can go. They'll take from you, demand from you, treat you like some possession they can control. It's almost laughable, isn't it? And the way they believe they can define your worth, tell you how much you're worth, and somehow make you believe it. They think that because you've stayed, because you've been patient, because you've endured their games, that you're weak, that you'll always be there, that they'll always have that power over you. But here's the punchline. They're the ones who are trapped. They think they've built their kingdom. They think they've claimed their prize. But they've created nothing but a cage, and they're too blind to see it. The real power lies not in the manipulation, not in the control, but in the moment you realize your worth isn't tied to their approval. Your value isn't wrapped up in their demands. The moment you realize you worsen free from their lives, their gains, their cruelty. See, that's when the entire game changes. When they believe they own you, that's when you pull the rug out from under them. You see, they never see it coming. They got you locked in their delusion, thinking you're weak, thinking you'll stay trapped in their world of manipulation, of abuse. But you're not trapped. You're just waiting for the perfect moment to show mud. The only thing they truly own is the version of you that they made up in their head. And let me tell you, that moment is beautiful. When you finally realize the chains they've put on you are nothing but smoke and mirrors, and you walk away, that's the moment they'll truly feel the weight of their delusions. They won't know what hit them, because you'll walk away with your head held high. Not because you're defeated, but because you've finally taken back what's always been yours, your freedom. They can manipulate, they can lie, they can twist the truth all they want. But the truth is, the moment they think they own you, that's the moment you break free. They don't own you. They never did. You were always in control. You just let them think they had the upper hand for a while, because you were biding your time waiting for the right moment. And when that moment comes, when you finally show them your freedom, When you finally break free of their grasp, it'll be too late for them to stop it. You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them anything you never did. They may think they've got the right to dictate your life, to make you feel small, to make you feel insignificant. But you're not some object they can control. You're not a tool for their convenience. You are your own person, and the moment they start thinking they've got ownership over you, you show them that their power is nothing more than a fantasy. It's in the moment you walk away, though we'll realize the truth. They never had you. They never owned you. And they never will. Because the moment you step out of their control, the moment you reclaim your life, your choices, your voice, it's over. The illusion is shattered. They're no longer the ones in charge. They thought they had you, but you were never theirs to have. They thought they could break you, mold you, turn you into what they wanted you to be. But you're free. You've always been free. And when you walk away, that's when you remind them of the most important thing. You are not theirs to own. You never were. The only one who truly owns you is you. You ever heard them say it? If you can't handle the heat, yet they hold them up like some kind of badge of honor, as if enduring endless suffering, taking hit after hit is somehow a sign of strength. But that's the joke, isn't it? People who say that are the ones who've never had to endure anything worth fighting for. They've never been knocked down so many times they've lost count. Never had to hold on to hope when there's nothing left to grasp. They don't get it. Let's make something clear, shall we? Your worth isn't tied to your suffering. It's not about how much pain you can take, how much abuse you can endure, how much disrespect they want you to think that if you can just hang on a little longer, if you can just take a little more, then you'll prove yourself. You'll earn your place. But guess what? You don't have to earn your place. You already have it. And that's where they get it wrong. They think you'll just take and take that. You'll let them whittle you down until there's nothing left but a shell of who you were. But there's something they don't understand. If strength isn't about enduring more, it's about knowing when enough is enough. Strength is the ability to walk away, to look at all the pain, all the suffering, all the things they've done to you, and say, I'm done. Yeah, real power. But they want you to think the longer you suffer, the more you deserve respect. They want you to believe that the depth of your pain somehow validates your worth. They're wrong. Brain pain doesn't give you purpose. Endurance doesn't give you value. You don't prove anything by staying in a situation that's breaking you. You prove your worth the moment you decide that enough is enough. The moment you decide you won't tolerate it anymore. Because what they don't tell you is that abuse doesn't make you stronger. It makes you weaker. It wears you down until there's nothing left but a hollow echo who you used to be. And that's exactly what they want. They want you to be so beaten down that you don't recognize yourself anymore. Take this. But I'm here to tell you, the second you realize your worth isn't tied to the suffering you endure, that's when the power flips. That's when you stop letting their cruelty define you. You are not your pain. You are not the scars they've left behind. You are not the wounds they've inflicted. You are the strength you find the moment you decide to walk away. And let me tell you, that is far more valuable than any suffering you could ever endure. But it's not easy, is it? No, it's never easy to break free. Because they've trained you to believe that staying in the fire proves you're strong. They've convinced you that if you just endure one more round of cruelty, one more bit of neglect, one more degrading moment, you'll somehow earn their respect. But you never will, because respect isn't earned through suffering. It's earned through self-respect. It's earned when you stand up for yourself, when you walk away from the things that don't serve you, when you say then when you finally break free, when you walk away from the chains of their manipulations, the power shifts. And it's not just about walking away from them. It's about walking toward yourself. It's about reclaiming the part of you they tried to steal. It's about looking in the mirror and remembering who you were before they broke you, before they convinced you that your worth was tied to their abuse. And when you do that, when you realize that your worth isn't defined by how long you endure suffering, that's when you step into your real power. You stop letting them make you feel small. You stop letting them control your narrative. You stop living for their approval, their validation, their love, because you finally learn to love yourself. And that's where the real strength lies. You don't need to suffer for someone else's approval. You don't need to endure endless pain for someone else's selfish gain. Your worth was never tied to how much you could take. It was always tied to who you are, what you bring to the table. The strings you carry inside the light can never take away. And the moment you realize that, that's the moment you stop enduring suffering and start embracing your true power, as they'll try to convince you otherwise, won't they? They'll try to make you believe you're not strong,